Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, presenting Under the Lights with your hosts, Justin and Dave, next in 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Good evening, Vikings fans. This is Under the Lights with Justin at Purple and Gold for Days and Dave with Minnesota Sports Talk, simulcast on both channels. And we have a returning special guest for the first time in our show's history, albeit 9 episodes. He is a man who needs no introduction whatsoever. You've seen him before. You know him as the Spin Doctor. Chuck Foreman, number 44. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Right,
I wore my Spin Doctor 44 shirt for this evening.
Yeah, well, that's what you're supposed to be having on.
I know everybody's got to have one. Let me plug that. ChuckForeman44.com. Go there and get your Spin Doctor shirt. ChuckForeman44.com. Use Skull15 at checkout. You get 15% off. There it is.
You got it down.
All right.
Well, first thing I wanted to get out the way is it is Packers week. Now we're going to talk about a little bit of the past, present, and maybe some of the future, but I did some crack research here today, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is unofficial because, you have to know that, not everything on the internet and you can believe, but according to my sources, you are 8th in rushing yards from a running back all time against the Green Bay Packers. And you got guys like Adrian Peterson, Walter Payton, and Barry Sanders on that list as well. But what I found most interesting is you are number 5 in combo yards at 1,355. Tied for the 4th most in rushing touchdowns with 7, 2nd in receiving touchdowns with 4, and tied for 4th in combo touchdowns with 11. Would you say that the Green Bay Packers were the team that you got up for the most? I know they weren't as good as they are now, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I think Green Bay has always been a team since I've been here anyway. Even when I got here, Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit, the black and blue division, they called it back in the day. And you had to be ready. And, of course, the Green Bay, they had a great history, of course, before I got there. And so, yeah, I had good games. You better be ready to play for them because it was always physical. So, in the 14-game season back when I started, it was interesting. Different from today, believe me when I tell you. That's why you can't compare stats from that era to stats of this era.
Well, it actually makes it more impressive. Oh, geez, that's happening again. It actually makes it more impressive because things have changed. I tell people all the time, like when I was in the 7th grade, they changed blocking from like this to being able to use your hands.
Yeah, as long as you kept them inside.
Yeah, I remember 7th grade to 8th grade, we said, hey, there's a new rule. And you had to change. You could now block with your hands. Right. Of course, more holding penalties started to get called.
I don't believe in that GOAT stuff and all that crap. I believe it's I put it in 10-year intervals from the time you come in for 10 years. Fortunately for Tom Brady, he's been doing it for a long time, and but even the time he's been there. But you see, I can remember when quarterbacks used to drop out and the purple people eaters used to get to him. And I used to see him at the end of the game, and most of them were bloodied and beat up. So, it's a whole totally different game. But, I respect it and all that. But I did the stat thing. I'm not taking away a guy's talent at all because they're all very talented and exceptional athletes and football players. But, I don't use that stat for me to judge how good a guy is. Because like back in my time, wide receivers, they bump and run all the way downfield until they threw the ball. And then, if you weren't beat up, you might catch the ball. Running backs, as you said, when you saw the blocking was different. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. I'm just saying I never judge a guy by his stats. I judge him by his big play moments, his down and distance. If he's a running back, is he a back that's in there 3 downs? Every down back. I don't want somebody in there and I got to take him out on the most important down in football, which is 3rd down, and you got to take him out and put somebody else in to catch a pass or block, make a block.
Speaking of big play moments, we talked extensively about Dalvin Cook and how he was being used, and he came up a big time in the greatest comeback in NFL history with I forget what down it was, but it was I think it was first down, and they did a screen pass to Dalvin Cook, and he took it to the house to put us within 2. Then we get the 2-point conversion and win in overtime against the Colts. Yeah, the Indianapolis Colts. Did you watch that game, and how'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I watched the game. I thought he did a great job, obviously, and I say Dalvin's one of the better backs in the league, no question. And he's the perfect fit for our offense, the way they run. But like I said, I'd like to see him using more in the passing game, and I think we could see a lot more plays like that.
Shout out to our friends in the chat here. We got to say hello real quick. Vikings Jerome, thanks for joining us again. Raymond, thanks for joining us. East Coast Gridiron, thanks for joining our chat here as well tonight, as well as Julian. We appreciate everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that share button. Let's get some more people in our chat here tonight. That being said, Chuck,
yeah,
there is this ridiculous notion that somehow, some way, we shouldn't be surprised that the Vikings are underdogs this week in Green Bay by 3 points. Now, we all know that some of that is Vegas trying to get money both ways so that they can build more tall buildings. Having said that, as a player, do you pay attention to that at all? Do you use that as, oh, they're doubting us, let's use that as motivation, or is that just something that as a player you don't think about?
I never use that. I mean, basically, when you go into Green Bay, at this time of year, it's always going to be difficult to play because they're outside, and we have now an indoor football team, and so that would be the only thing I would be thinking about, how these guys handle the cold, because we have indoor practice facilities. I'm sure they may have gone out once or twice this week in order to get prepared for the weather, but it's always a tough game, whether it's in Green Bay or whether it's here. Those two guys, those two teams are always going to be tough games.
And you famously, your team weren't allowed to use heaters on the sideline, if I wasn't mistaken, right?
No, not at all. I don't know.
And now Patrick Peterson recently says, I don't mind the cold because I'm warm on the sidelines. I just got to go out there for 4 or 5 plays, and I'm back on the sidelines in front of the heaters again.
Yeah, well, he's lucky. He's lucky because back in the day, we had no heaters, and then, those little wraps they put on you, they were thin, didn't have.
I had them in high school, so yeah.
Yeah, remember those?
Yeah,
well,
we never used them.
I'm much older than you. You didn't have those. You had the updated models.
Well, they were thin though. They weren't thick at all. They weren't parkas or anything like that.
That's what we had, and then you had no heaters on the sideline. The other teams did on their sideline. They were blowers at the time. Those flame blowers.
Like jet engines almost. Yeah.
Yeah. You get caught over there, you might get burned up. But that's what they used to thaw out the field. It was a different time, a different era, but it was great football.
Yeah, I remember seeing the old videos of those blowers going back and forth over the field, trying to thaw out the field. I imagine getting hit in those. But earlier you mentioned the purple people eaters. Right. You faced them in practice. Did they take it easy on you, knowing you were the golden boy?
Well, I guess they had a no hands, no touch thing on there.
So no Oklahoma drills?
We didn't go at it like that. Bud Grant was like, we may have a little bit, but we didn't do a whole lot of that contact stuff. But maybe once a week, and but he, on Sundays it was a whole different ball game for those guys. Those guys came to play, but it was like it was 150% every play. I mean, they pop you a little bit, but they wouldn't go all the way. They just let you know they were there.
Now, we put a string of comeback victories together, and they always give this stat to the quarterback, but it's a team, obviously. Fourth quarter comebacks by a quarterback. Kirk Cousins recently tied the NFL record that was held by Matthew Stafford of 8 fourth quarter comebacks. Have you seen something like this before? Has there, have you been a part of a team that was like, this happened to us all the time, we were just clutch? Have you seen this before?
We pretty much had the game won. We weren't behind that much. We were, well, really, I'm just being honest with you about that. So we have, at my time, excuse me for that, but we didn't have to deal with a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, you didn't. Justin, I think I cut you out. Did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say the same thing is, what kind of experiences they have. But to what you said, Chuck, it's a lot easier, or it's a lot more difficult to have a lot of come from behind victories when you're not behind.
That's what I was trying to say to you.
Right. But people want to talk about, well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that many come from behind victories. Well, he was ahead a lot. So
he didn't have to. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a good thing that we are able to do that.
Tom Brady leads the league, so in victories.
I'd rather be out in front, kind of dominating a little bit more.
Yes.
So you got, instead of this, wow, we're in the fourth quarter. Are they going to be able to do it? Already not. Fortunately, we got a quarterback that's able to. I mean, let's put it this way: Kirk Cousins, when he has everything in play, that means his offensive line is giving him the time. He doesn't have to get out and move around, do all that crazy stuff that he's not good at. He can dial in with the best of them, no question about it. He's had I thought, a phenomenal year this year. Staying in the game, getting everybody back in the game, winning the games. Like last year, these games were being lost. This year, we're winning.
And my mom actually is is on here. This is the first time she's ever been on my show. She's chatting. It's Mom, David, waiting for the first Super Bowl win.
Oh man, no! I told you I'm superstitious.
I'm not asking you. But my mom made that comment.
I'm not even using that word. I'm not going to even address nothing like that.
Mom, you said the wrong thing. Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, but right now is not the time.
Right.
I don't know about you guys, but many football players, most of them are superstitious.
No.
Put your
definitely.
When the clock is
put your
zero,
pants on the same way. You do everything the same way.
Right.
Definitely. I wore the same thing, wore the same shoes for 4 years.
Right. Same socks, they smell, all that stuff.
Well, to your comment about Kirk Cousins, in addition to hanging in this year, he has taken more hits this year than any other quarterback in the league. And outside of the time he got the wind knocked out of him in the game against the Commanders in Washington, he's popped right back up every single time.
Yeah, he certainly has. But what I'm saying is, even though that's happened, in the crucial time, he's gotten the time. And when he's got that time, when it happens, he's making the play. So the offensive line needs to still get better. There's no question about that. But they're giving him the time in that crucial moment. We're talking about crucial moments and big play moments. That's what's happening.
And it seems like that the defense, the offensive line, everybody steps up in that fourth quarter. Like you said, like Justin's making the point, he has been hit the most. He's got sacked like the fourth most, 44 times. That's like almost 20 more than last year. So, but in that fourth quarter, it seems like everybody does their job and they get it done in overtime.
Yeah, I know, but why don't you do it the whole game?
I was just going to ask you, Chuck,
what is fans? What the heck?
What is it about this team, Chuck, that they can't do this consistently for 4 quarters? I mean, what you were saying a moment ago about being ahead. We'd love this exciting season and how we're always on the edge of our seat, but just once, particularly this weekend would be great, but just once can we have a comfortable 17-point win?
Well, like the opening game, Green Bay, oh, wow, everybody's all excited.
Bears were up by 21.
Everything was going – you know what I mean? and after that, it was like, wow, all these these thrillers, and like, I mean, I'm glad we winning them, but like you, I want to be able to watch a game in comfort instead of having to hang around and wait until the fourth quarter to see if they're going to pull it off. And I'm going to be honest with you. This week I was at home, but the week before, when they had the big win,
Yep.
I left in the fourth quarter.
You didn't.
Yeah, I did. When Indianapolis scored that final touchdown, and I had this knee walker and the snow was outside and all that. I had to get to my truck. So I said, hey, I better leave early so I can beat the crowd. Look, and then by the time I got through the snow, I got in my truck and my phone rang. It was Christina, my lady. She says, the game's tied up. So I've listened to the rest of the game on the radio.
I was at a soccer field with my kid, and I looked like a deadbeat dad walking around pumping my fists and not watching my kid play soccer. But I'm like, why'd you have to have it on a Saturday? But I think our guest the last time said he left the game too. Paul Krause. He said some other Hall of Fame Vikings had left at halftime along with him. So you weren't the only one.
No, I wasn't the only one, Chuck. But we were so frustrated. But I'm like, after that touchdown, I said, let me just start easing on out here so I don't catch this crowd. But I did get to listen to it.
I'll be honest with you. I was there with my girlfriend, her son, and my daughter. And it was the first game that we took our kids to.
Right.
And throughout that first half, we're like, boy, this is the game we chose to bring these two for their first experience.
I think everybody was saying the same thing.
Right. And I'll tell you what, after halftime, the Vikings got the ball and they went 3 and out. And I'll be honest, if our kids weren't there, that's when I would have said maybe it's time to get up out of here.
Oh, don't feel bad. Listen, I would say about 80% of the people in there were thinking the same thing.
My brother was there, and he was thinking the same thing. He didn't. He was going because South Dakota State was playing in like the semifinals or something like that, and at the same time. So he's like, okay, let's leave and we can go watch the whole South Dakota State game. But then they scored a touchdown, their first touchdown, and he decided to stay and stayed and got to watch the entire game. So he actually and Justin both got to stay. But my brother's traveling from Brookings, South Dakota. So I mean, you might as well get your money's worth, right? And I don't think you'll ever leave a game again.
No doubt.
I don't think you'll ever leave a game again.
I'm not going to be leaving any games anytime. So, well, anyway, we're pretty much at the end, but we'll see how they go.
Do you go to any road games, or is it just the home games?
No, man. No, I don't do the road thing. I got other things I'm doing. I'll go somewhere. I got, other opportunities.
They built the indoor field for you, for the players that had to play in the cold for so long. They built that for you, probably.
I don't know, but I can tell you this much. They took an ally away when they took that outdoor.
Oh, you did.
That weather away, because when that sun used to set at Met Stadium, and we get those warm weather teams up there, especially the LA Rams.
Right.
And that temperature would drop. It was all over but the shout, man. It was all over.
It was a great mental advantage that you had because obviously you guys were so used to it. And
so we gave a couple games away because of the weather, but that's all right.
How far do you think this team can go, Chuck? I'm not going to say.
Don't even say it.
But do you?
All right, look, man. Here's what I'm going to say to you. I'm going to put it to you this way, like that movie there. Any given Sunday, and that's it. That's all I'm saying.
I will say
recently the defense have come under fire a little bit because they gave up like 400 yards games in a row. Had 1 week where they didn't, and then back to 450 yards again. Kevin O'Connell and the defensive coach were talking about how they needed to get more pressures. Now, as a former player, does our defensive players like hear that and say, "Oh, that's what we've been thinking the whole time"? Are they happy to hear their coaches call that out in the media?
How can I put this? Coach is coach, and they can tell you what the players play. They got to execute.
Yeah.
So when they dial up those blitzes and all that stuff, now I think we got the talent to be better. And why we aren't better, but we got the 3-4 and all that. The linebackers got to flow. Got new guys playing different positions. Hunter playing stand up. I mean, it's a different approach to the game. And so I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but hopefully from here on out, they should be in playoff mode mentally, and that turns up everything, your concentration, your level, your attention to detail, all those little things that you have to do, number one, to avoid mistakes and to hold your ground, do the things that you need to do so everybody else, because at 3-4, you got that big guy in the middle holding up things, you got those linebackers in the middle of the field, you got the other guys out there that could be able to run. So they got to be able to do that in order to be, make that defense work.
The last thing I want to see anymore is Danielle Hunter or Zadarius Smith dropping into coverage. I'm sorry. You don't have the Zimmer defense anymore. You don't have the 85 Bears. You don't take your two best pass rushers and drop them in a zone blitz. That's just my opinion.
I hear you, but you see, when they changed up from the 4-3 to the 3-4, and then they coming in to do these different things, and I guess they comfortable when I'm going back there. Maybe I'm thinking you thinking they need to maybe change personnel when they come in with that package, because that's when you're used to playing down. Those guys are used to coming off the ball. Mm-hmm. And when you got them standing up, it's a little more of a challenge.
I think Danielle Hunter was used a little more creatively this last game, and actually was down a lot and moved around and actually got 2 sacks, and he's over 10, and we're one of the few teams in the league that got 2 guys over in double-digit sacks. Now, a little while ago, we talked about the quarterback situation. When you played, you had that one quarterback like the whole time you were there. In 1992, Brett Favre became the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Would it surprise you that the Vikings have had 26 different quarterbacks start since Brett Favre started? And then the Packers have had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and most likely Aaron Rodgers will be in the Hall of Fame. And the only reason he never started is because there was a few games he was hurt in and didn't get to play. So there was 7 since 1992 for the Packers and 26 for the Vikings.
Well, the Packers got lucky and hit the jackpot twice. When you can do that, that solves your problems for the most important offensive position in the game. So, they've had 2 great quarterbacks there, and then actually when they traded for Brett Favre, they really didn't know what he was going to be, until he got that opportunity around a good coach and a good team. With Aaron Rodgers had to sit, and he turned out to be a great quarterback. We, haven't had that luxury, so. But we got. I think Kirk's come around. I don't think anybody was 100% for Kirk Cousins, but he has proven, I think, that he's more than capable of doing a great job.
Shout out.
The recent history with Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins played the Packers for the first time in 2017, and since then is 5-3-1 against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers in the same time is 4-5-1 against the Vikings. So do you think Kirk maybe is not getting enough credit for how well he's been playing against our rivals?
Well, the rival is one thing, but the winning column is another. And it's Green Bay that's been on the had the upper hand in that, over the years.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking any, it is what it is. I mean, Aaron Rodgers he's a real dude, man.
As a fun fact, even though they had to get 2 Hall of Fame, and since it's Packers week, I like to bring this up. They had to get 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks to get close to us in division titles. We got 19 division titles. The Packers have 16. People think we're the little brothers of the division, but we still, after 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, still have more Central and North division titles than these guys. And hopefully we can expand that league going forward. Where do you feel about this team going forward into the next years? Do you think we can maintain the success without the miracle wins?
Well, I'm hoping. I think they can. I think when I watched the game last week and I watched Kevin O'Connell and how he was coaching up everybody on the sideline, whether it was Adam Thielen or somebody else, he was he was encouraging them, not so much screaming at them. And I think in today's game, with today's athlete, and the way you got to approach him a little bit different. I think he understands and he's dialed into those guys pretty good. So I think they have a great chance to move on and do some great things. I'm just not going to say the words you want me to say, but
I would do that to
I
you.
will say this: they're in a great position to move forward.
Shout out Skull Mafia. Shout out David. Thanks again for joining us. Hit that like and share buttons for us if you could, please. I'll try to get the shout outs in here, but again, Mr. Foreman has got the floor whenever he does. So do you think it's imperative for the Vikings to get this 2 seed and have as many home games as possible, or do you think that they can take this act on the road?
I think it's very important that they win out. And that's the safe bet, because it's better to be home in your environment than on the road. So I think it's really important that they win out and get home field.
Yeah, I don't want to go to San Francisco.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think that's
now what San
one of the worst
Francisco is.
matchups.
They got a heck of a defense out there.
Well, the other
That's
thing
an
for me,
amazing
Chuck, is that I will say that, in my opinion, I think San Francisco's got the best combination of O-line and D-line. They are still playing with, hey, the game is won in the trenches. I mean, you got their third string quarterback not looking all that much different than their first and second string because he's being protected and he's got a good running back in Christian McCaffrey now. And as you said, that defense is outstanding, particularly because of how well their defensive line is.
Time out. You forgot about Deebo Samuels. He's better than Christian McCaffrey. Excuse me for saying, but he's hurt right now. But McCaffrey's a good addition. But the man out there is Deebo Samuels.
True.
So that's just my opinion. But that I like it. But this is the first year Christian McCaffrey's been able to play a full season in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, the last 2 years he was in.
Yeah, so he's a heck of a player. But the guy that makes that offense go is Deebo.
Yes, sir.
And then
I'm just disagreeing with him.
And Brock Purdy comes in and the engine keeps running.
And
how does that work out for a rookie 7th round pick? The last guy to do something like that was maybe Tom Brady. 7th round pick.
I got to watch him play when he was at Iowa State against Nebraska. And I've watched him play, we get those games, the Iowa State games up here and there. He can ball, man. He can play. And, he's with the right team, the right time. The guy has something. He's a winner. And, you can see he's prepared. He rarely makes a bad throw or he doesn't throw the ball in the coverage that much. He can move with the ball himself. So he has that dynamic to his game. So I think, when he the last player, well, I don't know if he was the last player chosen.
He was Mr. Irrelevant. Yes, he was the last player chosen.
Relevant, boy. He's very relevant right now.
Now, isn't he?
Yeah. So there you go. That's what you call having a good draft class.
That was an amazing pick at the end. It's like he could have went anywhere. And no, he's going to become the 3rd string quarterback with the quarterback controversy in San Francisco, and then he's going to lead them into the playoffs. That's just an amazing story, just like Tom Brady's was back when he was I think a 2nd-year player.
Yeah, it's always every year. There's always somebody that's interesting. I like Purdy as a quarterback. I really do.
What about now? We got a guy that's setting records left and right. He had the rookie receiving record. He had the 2-year receiving record. He had the 3-year receiving record. He's passed Randy Moss as the most receptions. He passed Chris Carter, or most yards by Viking, most catches by Chris Carter. He's a couple hundred yards away from beating Megatron and a little past that, 2,000 yards. Now we're playing in 17 games, but how incredible, or how have you felt since we last talked about our receiver that's breaking all these records,
Well,
Justin Jefferson.
I think Justin Jefferson, if you're watching, watch him on the sideline when he's not in the game and see how intense he is and how he's dialed into the game when he's not playing the game. I think that's one of the things you have to see. Talent-wise, he runs a great route. He's got a lot, what I call a lot of catch courage, which he's gonna go in. He's gonna go get the ball regardless. He's gonna get hit or not. And I think he plays every down. Like it's the last down he's gonna play football. I think there was we used to say durability equals greatness. If he is able to perform like this for, a few more years, I mean, he's a great player. Don't misunderstand me. But he's going to take, especially here in Minnesota, he might be the best we ever had. And
which is saying something when you have two Hall of Famers at the top and Randy Moss.
I played with John Gilliam. I played with Sammy White. They may not be in the Hall of Fame, but let me tell you something. They could play the game too. But I'm saying we've had some great receivers up here. Chris Carter, Randy Moss, and the rest of them.
Anthony Carter, Ahmad Rashad that you just had an event with.
Ahmad Rashad. There's a lot of them in there. And Ahmad to tell you the same thing I'm telling you because I talked to him. If he stays focused, if he stays humble, let's say, and he does what he needs to do, in my opinion, and stays, like I said, staying healthy, committed, and all that, he could go down. I think he will go down. Is the best we ever had here in Minnesota.
And Chris Carter agrees with you. He said he already is the best receiver. I say you need to give him a few more years. But
that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's no question about it. He's got that courage, man, that a great receiver needs to be the best. And I come watch him on Sunday. I turn my TV on to see what he's going to do. But, yeah, he's got what it takes.
Well, I just looked it up here just a little bit. He's only 717 yards short of Ahmad Rashad in yardage. Now, you have to adjust for the era, and adjusting for the era, he probably needs about another 2,200 yards for, the adjustment's sake. But As far as straight up numbers to be within 717 yards of Ahmad Rashad in only this many years is absolutely.
But are you talking about just Ahmad receptions here in Minnesota or his overall yard?
Just Minnesota.
All right. Well, because he played for Buffalo.
Right.
He played for Seattle. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals. So.
And what was so amazing about Ahmad Rashad back in the day is he did that later in his career with us. The 1,000 yard. I think it was 3 or 4 big years where he made the Pro Bowl, and he did that going into his 30s, which is incredible.
Ahmad. Was a great route runner. Great speed. He had it all. He didn't look like he was going fast. He had those long legs, but Ahmad was special. We had some great ones up here. And to say that Justin Jefferson can be better than all those guys, it's saying something. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment. I couldn't give him a better one.
So tell us about that event you had that you were a part of. The Miracle at the Met event. I saw a clip of Peyton Manning throwing a pass to Ahmad Rashad on the flume ride at the Nickelodeon inside the Mall of America, because that's where they determined where he would have caught the ball. So they had him go down the flume ride, and Peyton Manning threw it to him.
Right. Well, anyway, that was I was in New England at that time, but that Miracle at the Met, that was a big play for those guys back then, and Ahmad, of course. The right place at the right time. And, that was, they labeled it the Miracle of the Met at the Met. So it was it was standing room only there. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It was a great time to see, we got some great fans here in Minnesota. I mean, it was standing room only. A lot of the guys were there. It was good to see everybody and, But yeah, it was really a great event. Thanks to Ben Tice and his guys.
Yeah, that's great. And the fact of Ben Tice, I imagine that's how I got to see um, Paul Krause. How I got to see Paul Krause on the internet.
Right.
He says, "Hey, I'm on the internet," and like I immediately messaged him. So I believe we probably owe a lot of this ability to reach out to former legends like yourself, or former players, legends like yourself, that you be in more access to the fans of this day and age. I think fans don't realize that how great a history the Vikings had, and that's part of the reason I always want to get someone like yourself on the air and get you guys your just due. You guys have created that stadium. You guys created this team.
You know, this social media thing, I think most of us are afraid of it. But when, I'm being straight up honest with you, or don't know how to operate it, or know how to. Only thing I know is when I met Ben Tice, it's about trust. It's about believing in the things that he wanted to do, and sharing that with my former teammates and other former Vikings. And he is the one that has given us the exposure we're getting now, because he's put the packages together for us, showing us how to do the thing. And like you said, you guys are getting to reach out and talk to a bunch of us, and it's a lot of fun. It's being part of the new day, for lack of a better word.
Right.
You guys got it going on, so we're happy to be a part of it.
And I'm glad for it, for sure.
Let me get a couple quick shout outs to people who have joined us here. Chuck, Purple Pocket Podcast Rap, thanks for joining us. That's Dave's partner on the Purple Code, which will be airing on a little bit later. Rang, thanks for joining us as well. Mr. My Worthless Opinion, that's an interesting moniker, but still one of the greatest receiving backs ever, I'd have to agree, and knowledge, of course. Thanks for joining us here. I guess to kind of get us towards the end here, what do you think the biggest key this weekend in Green Bay is? Because my opinion is stomp these guys out. In 2010, the Chicago Bears, the last week of the season, had the opportunity to beat the Green Bay Packers, eliminate them from the playoffs. They pulled their starters halfway through. They ended up losing that game 10-3. And all of the rest of us in the NFC North and all the people who don't cheer for the Packers ended up regretting that, because the Bears figured, we'll get them in the NFC Championship game. We'll have another shot at them. No, you take out the team that is the biggest threat when you have an opportunity. What's the biggest key this weekend, Chuck?
The weather. And what's the weather going to be like?
I guess it's going to be better than what it has been. Like, we're talking about 30s.
30s?
Yeah, like 30s.
And that's doable. But, besides the weather, we're going to have to play mistake-free football. You say we're playing against Aaron Rodgers, and you know what he brings to the table, and that running game gets going like that. They got two really fine running backs over there, so the defense is going to have to step up, and they're going to play a lot better. Like you said, they had 5 or 6 400 games against them already this year.
Well, more than that, probably. Just
how many?
6,
well, I don't know, more than that, but let's put like too many games of 400 yards. That's not going to happen. If you got that going on, you're not going to go far in playoff time. So it's all about clock management. It's all about all these different things that they're going to have to do. I'm going to try to keep the ball on the ground and wear that clock down, and let Kirk Cousins come in and do what he needs to do when he has to do it, and Jefferson. But I just think clock management and that defense is definitely going to have to step it up.
Yeah, to answer your question about the weather, about 33 at kickoff, dropping to about 30 by the end of the game.
That's good weather for him.
Yeah, that's not bad. Did we lose him?
I think we lost. Yes. I know we were just getting ready to wrap there, but we'll see if he comes. We'll give him a couple minutes to see if we're back on. Jim NFL 7, thanks for going. Vikings win close, or Packers do. Sorry, but I think I'm not going to say that it's impossible. It's not like the Vikings are, this cinch to just walk in there. I mean, they are, 3-point underdogs. All right, I think we got Mr. Foreman back here, so thank you for.
I missed you. All right,
there you are.
Sorry
about to close out anyways.
What happened?
Oh, you're fine.
All right. Okay.
Last parting. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully we have you back in a few weeks because that might be around a particular game that we don't want to talk about. But the invitation is always open.
Most
and and thanks for jumping on. You're a man of your word, man. You told me after week 14 I'll come back on. You're back on.
Well,
I love it. You're my first returning guest.
Right.
Go.
But you were talking all that, too soon. So I had to slow you down a little bit. I didn't want, I wanted to see how it was going to go. And, we said we'd get back around week 14, 15, and here we are. So, let's get back together again after these next 2 weeks and see where they be. We'll see.
We'll see about getting you back on before the final game that we play.
Okay.
And see what happens, man.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you so much for joining us, Chuck. We very much appreciate it.
Right,
thanks, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Man, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Twice we had Chuck Foreman on, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, he's got stories upon stories, but like I said, he's just a great interview. I want to thank everybody for joining us here. Dave, you want to go over some of your pregame for what you got going on the Purple Code here tonight?
Tonight I'm just with Rap tonight. The same Tuesday show that we happened to miss last week.
Right.
That's at 9:15 Eastern, 8:15 Central. Tomorrow we got Shelby Tweeting back on. We're gonna have I think Rap's gonna make a special appearance. I'm gonna maybe do some fun things with that show tomorrow. That's at 7:00 Central, 8:00. Thursday I'm doing a Skull World live show. I'm bringing on a Packer fan and was talking crap to me in the chat. So we messaged each other. He's going to come on through his cell phone. So we'll see what that show is going to be like.
That ought to be interesting.
It's going to be a fun week. And who knows about the pregame yet? Me and Justin will talk about it. But hey, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being a part of us bringing you history.
Absolutely.
Chuck Foreman, man. That was awesome.
If you're tuned in to Purple and Gold for Days and you don't already subscribe to Minnesota Sports Talk, please give my buddy Dave a subscribe. And if you're watching on Minnesota Sports Talk and don't already subscribe to Purple and Gold for Days, please help me out there as well. We cannot thank you guys enough. We do this for the fans. As much fun as it is for us to be able to get to Chuck Foreman, you guys throwing some stuff in the chat is absolutely a crucial and big part of this conversation here. So thank you, everybody, for joining us.
And go help out Chuck Foreman, 44.com. Skull 15 at checkout. Get you a Spin Doctor t-shirt.
And get that family discount there. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you kindly, everybody, for joining us. Keep it tuned to both channels here, Purple and Gold for Days, Minnesota Sports Talk. You know we're going to be dropping lots of content here during Packers Week. Thanks again. Have a good night, and Skull Vikes.